Okay, so this is your instructional video for a little chunk of time. That's because we're going to be taking a break from the book and you're going to be working on a project. So you're going to start on December 3rd, which is Thursday, and then you have all the way through December 11th, which is a Friday, and you are going to create your own country and your own culture. And this is a test grade, so that's why I'm giving you plenty of time to work on it. So what do I expect of you? Well, you're going to be using Google Slides to present your project, and what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating your own country with its own culture. So for each of these headings here, there needs to be a correlating Google Slide page, a Google Slide for each of those items. Okay, so I'm going to go over them just to give you an idea what I'm expecting. So the first thing that you need is to create, well, actually, name would be the best thing. Name should go first. Let's do the name first. So the first thing that you need to do is name. What's the name of your country? And you're going to want to explain the origin of the name. I'm just putting notes in here so that you can come back and look at it again. So origin of the name. Wow, I'm having a hard time spelling today. It still doesn't look right. Okay, there we go. All right, so you're going to explain the origin. So, for example, when we think of the United States of America, obviously the origin is that each of the states were separate colonies, but then they became united and they came together, and that's the reason we're the United States of America. And also, of course, you have to think about the Civil War and how there was that conflict when we were united once again. So, on the first slide, you need to have the name of your country and then explain its origin. And then the second slide, you need to have the country's topography. And by topography, of course, I mean lay of the land. Is it mountainous, a desert, a coastal town, or a country rather? All of those things are important to ask yourself. So for this slide, what you'll do is you'll put in like a picture if it's mountainous, of mountains, if it's a desert, put pictures of deserts in there, if it's coastal, the coast, if it's all three, put in pictures of all three. Just explain the topography. The next one that you're going to need to create for a slide is climate. So you're going to want to ask yourself, what type of climate does my country have? Now it's important to recognize that the topography is going to have a direct correlation with your climate. So for instance, if you decided that your country was mountainous, then you might have a country that's very high elevation and it might have a polar climate. If you chose something that has desert, it might have a dry climate. Just for reference, I'm going to put this on here. Climates are listed on page 16 of your book, just for a refresher, if you want to go back and make sure you're matching the topography correctly with the climate. Okay, so on the next slide, you're going to want to talk and design, rather, about the national flag. And you're also going to want to explain the meaning of the national flag. So when we think about the United States, we know that it's, of course, stars and stripes, and everything on the flag is highly symbolic. So your flag also needs to be highly symbolic. In America, we have the 50 stars on the flag, which of course represents the 50 states. We have the colors red, white, and blue, and they all represent certain things. So, for instance, red represents the courage and bravery of the people of America because it represents the blood that was shed by soldiers and making sure that America maintained her freedom. So I'm looking for something like that with your flag. You're going to want to explain the meaning of your flag. So maybe you put a lion on your flag and you say, this lion represents the first ruler of this country and he was supposed to be as brave as a lion, and so the people after him who take his place as ruler and all the people of the country really value courage or something like that. Obviously, it's up to you and your creativity. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to do on the next slide is an anthem. We want to have a unique national anthem for your country, and it's supposed to be a fun assignment, so don't stress over your anthem. It's supposed to be just, it can be a silly song. You can make it 3 lines long if you want to. It just needs to be an anthem that sort of encapsulates the culture of your country. So remember, what we're trying to do is we're creating our own culture for this country. So the next thing that you need to look at is the system of government. And then I'm going to add in here like leaders and their names. So if, for example, you decided that you wanted your country to have a monarchy, then you'd want to include the leader, the king, in his name. And then maybe a prime minister or something like that. Just some specific people who are specifically a part of the government. And then for the next slide, I want you to create a unique holiday. So for that, you're going to want to create like a day / date that it's celebrated, and any sort of celebrations that take place on the day that make it that are unique to the holiday. So for instance, when we think about holidays in the United States, we have, you know, Halloween, we have Christmas, we have Thanksgiving, and there are certain ways that you celebrate. So make sure that you include how do you celebrate this holiday. Okay, so then the next thing that you need to do is what language do they speak. If you want to make up a language, that's fine. If you want them to speak English, that's fine. If you want them to speak French, that's fine. It's up to you. Okay, so you also want to include on the next slide food. How do these people eat? Are they a nation who celebrates fast food and that's all they eat? Are they a nation who is organic and they take all their food from the earth and make sure that there's no bad chemicals in there? It's all completely up to you. But do include some pictures of whatever they eat, okay? And then we're going to want you to talk about natural resources. What is in abundance in your country? Is it a place that's abundantly filled with bears? Do people ride bears? You know, it's all up to you, okay? And then employment. What do the people do here? Are they coal miners? Are they people who fish? Bear in mind that these two are going to be related. A lot of times what the country is abundant in is where the employment is going to be found. And then finally, I want you to mention the economy. And again, that's going to be part of these two, natural resources and employment, as far as what kind of economy do they have. Is it a agrarian economy? Are they farm-based? Is it a technological economy? Are they based in making lots of fancy tech? It's all up to you, but it does need to sort of reflect one another. So if you have any questions about this, please feel free to let me know. This is supposed to be a fun project, but again, remember, it's a test grade, and that's why I'm giving you such a good amount of time to finish it. And again, all this needs to be presented in a Google slide format, and you do need to include pictures or some sort of image for each of these slides. Now, of course, with the national anthem, that might just look like you writing out the words to the national anthem. But if it includes something like a star, then you can include a picture of a star if you want to. Okay, I'm going to leave up the rest to your discernment. Thank you.